Things are getting crazier surrounding the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. contract situation as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. continues to mash and continues to be one of the best hitters in baseball. Atkins has yet to sign him to an extension, and a huge question mark is whether or not the Blue Jays will be able to retain the superstar. And one recent post by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is very shocking and very surprising as it hints towards his future in Toronto. So to break all that down in this episode, welcome in everybody. I'm your host, Nick Gosse, and this is going to be a very, very interesting one. Obviously, the Toronto Blue Jays, they had a bit of a stretch there where they won 6 games in a row. They now lost a couple in a row to Boston. They've been a bit, the team's been weird the whole year. But one thing that has stayed consistent was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And he is turning into, I don't have to tell you guys, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's been the best hitter in baseball alongside Aaron Judge over the past several months. And we have some interesting info on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract situation. Now, heading into this season, a lot of fans were on one side or the other. They were up and down about whether or not Vladdy should get a big contract before this year because he had back-to-back seasons where his OPS was between 790 and 820 and 770 and 820. He has shown that he made the adjustments and he is one of the best hitters in baseball. And quite frankly, the Blue Jays need to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Whether or not they want to compete in 2025 or not, they need to extend this guy. And Vladdy posted something very, very interesting on Instagram. Now, could it be a cryptic message? Could it just be him just showing his love for Toronto? I'm going to let you guys decide that, but here it is. So this happened yesterday or a couple days ago, literally begging for an extension. LMFAO, come on, Blue Jays, come on, at Rogers. And if you can't see what this is, it doesn't have the full screenshot. This was in Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s Instagram story. He reposted on his story someone posting at him, at Vladdy at Blue Jays, give this guy an extension already. He bleeds Toronto. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. reposted a picture of somebody saying, at Rogers, give this guy an extension already. At Atkins, give him an extension already. It has not been more clear ever that the Blue Jays have a young superstar that wants to stay in Toronto, and the Jays need to get an extension done. At this point, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has done every single thing he could possibly do to get an extension. I don't care if it's $300 million, $320 million, whatever it is. At this point, it is fully on the front office and ownership to give Vladdy a contract. Because coming into the season, the question mark was, okay, they didn't get something done because Vladdy hasn't fully shown that he can consistently be a 900 OPS hitter year in and year out. He had 2021. He had a very solid 2022, a bit of a down year last year. He came out this year and everything is clicking. We knew he always had the potential. Give the guy a contract. You have to. And he's sending, could this be a cryptic message to the Jays? This is about as blatant as I've seen a player post about their current contract situation. Again, it's just an Instagram post of him reposting, give this guy an extension. He bleeds Toronto. He does not want to go anywhere. He clearly wants to stay in Toronto. And we talk about Bichette often. And Bichette is a very different situation. We don't know that he wants to stay in Toronto. He said at the deadline he wouldn't be surprised if he was traded. Whereas Vladdy, on the other hand, was much more open about the front office, much more open about the fact that, hey, I want to stay in Toronto. I want to be a Toronto Blue Jay. At this point, give the man an extension. Like, I saw this a couple days ago or yesterday, whenever it was, and I was like, wow. The Toronto Blue Jays, the fact they haven't signed an extension. Now, obviously, at this point, it's not going to happen this season. It needs to happen this offseason because if you go into next season with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. not extended and he continues to mash like we know he will because he's figured it out now. He made the adjustment. Obviously, pitchers made an adjustment to him. He started to struggle a little bit. He's made the adjustment back. There was a reason he was touted as the best prospect in baseball just a few years ago. He is one of the best hitters and will be for the next decade one of the best hitters in baseball. And the Blue Jays need to build around this guy because if you don't extend Vladdy, you have no one to build around that can help you win a World Series superstar caliber-wise. Vladdy, if he goes, Bo's probably gone. And obviously you have some prospects in the system, but you need, at the chance now that you have to take it, you have to take the opportunity for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to be a Toronto Blue Jay for life, and you need to build around him. There's no more waiting. Bichette, you have to decide what you want to do with him, and that can't be done, in my opinion, without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. being extended. If you extend Vladdy, then you decide on Bo, whether you want to trade him or let him go. But this was crazy to me. Bring the man home. He's already home, but keep him home. He gave some insight as well about his kind of how his season's going, and I wanted to bring this up with you all because I find it very, very intriguing. He said, in my mind, I'm the best in the world, how Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got back to being elite and why he needs to be the face of whatever comes next in Toronto. And this gives some very valuable insight on what went into Vladimir Guerrero Jr. being the best hitter in baseball over the past few months again. He said Guerrero went to the offseason focused on establishing a routine that he wouldn't waver from. He'd go to the gym every day, no matter how he was feeling. Food outside the regular season was cut off at 6 p.m. with no exceptions. Rather than fixate on the results, he drowned himself in the monotony of the work. It offered him security, and when things went wrong, when the results weren't there, when the outside world kept talking about how he might never be great again, Guerrero found comfort in the dependability of the process. And it's truly incredible to me. People wrote off Vladimir Guerrero Jr. after last year. They hated on him. There was that tweet. I know a lot of you who are watching right now know what I'm talking about. When the Blue Jays tweeted at 20, he was the face of whatever. He was the best prospect in baseball. At 21, at 20, he was the most overrated player in baseball. At 21, whatever it was, he's the best player in baseball. And then everyone used to quote tweet that and say, "Hey, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. he fell off." All this stuff. He is back, and the reason for that is because of his unwavering commitment to being the best hitter in baseball again. We saw it in the offseason. We saw it when he lost weight. We saw it when he stuck with the process. Yeah, there's been times of struggle. Every single player goes through that, unless you're Aaron Judge. And then, even Aaron Judge struggled for the first bit of this season, but everybody goes through that. And the fact that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did this, it gives the Jays all the more comfort in the world to extend the star player in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He put in the work. You could see it. Obviously, we don't see it as much as Ross Atkins, John Schneider, Mark Shapiro see it. They saw the work that this guy put in. Reward him with the money. I'm super fired up about this, if you can't tell, because at this point, I don't see why. If the Jays walk into next season without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extended, it will be because Rogers or the front office, whoever it is, Mark Shapiro, didn't want to pay Vladdy, a first baseman, $300 million. Vladdy is already starting to play third base. He's giving the Jays everything they could have asked for defensively this season, offensively this season, as a teammate, everything. And if the Jays don't want to step up and pay him money, I don't care if you get to back the trucks in, the bank trucks, back the brink trucks in. Pay him $500 million for all I care. Don't actually pay him $500, but pay him like $300, $350. Bring the man his money. And just at this point, like if we're nickel and diming, obviously nickel and diming from the Blue Jays perspective, of course, you have to just do it because the alternative is really bad. And you look at the guy, he's the best. He has some of the best peripherals in baseball. He's a really good player. I don't need to tell you that. Guerrero is on the upswing. And this article goes into the pros and cons of extending Vladdy. Unlike re-upping someone like Bichette, who's having the worst season of his career, Vladdy is on the upswing. He's not having a campaign reminiscent of his breakout in 2021, but there are glimpses of that potential in his bat this year. And I'm going to disagree with the article. He is having a campaign that is better than his 2021 campaign. He's having a campaign that is arguably better than his 2021 campaign. He did everything you could have ever asked for him to do. And obviously, he drove his price up. If you would have extended him last offseason, I don't know how much you could have got him for. Obviously, there were different circumstances then, and we didn't know what kind of player he would be. Extend him. And not only that, like he sells tickets, he sells jerseys. It makes sense from the baseball product aspect of it. Even if he doesn't do MVP caliber numbers, who cares? If he's a 900 OPS, 950. If you're the front office, this guy sells jersey, this guy sells tickets. If you're selling jerseys and tickets, and just pay the man. You're going to pay Ohtani $700 million anyway. I don't know. It's very interesting. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this one. This one got me fired up a little bit. The cryptic message he is begging to be a Toronto Blue Jay for the next decade. And if Ross Atkins doesn't do it, he's going to be in serious, serious trouble. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. A bit of an interesting video. Just wanted to discuss all of this because some wild news has come out regarding it. So let me know what your thoughts are. We'll see you tomorrow.